Hey folks, I'm Jack Fossett, and welcome to this demo and review of the One Control Persian Green Screamer. Now I'm going to call this, potentially, the Tube Screamer for players who don't like Tube Screamers, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. Now, this pedal, most importantly, has two modes. It has a vintage mode and it has a modern mode, which you just heard a little bit from. It has the classic overdrive controls. It has drive, level, and tone. Now, on vintage mode, this is very much like one of the best TS 808s you've ever heard. It takes away some of the stuff of the TS 808 that you might not like, but retains all the things that you would like. It does have the classic mid-hump. It has that nice, rich kind of drive sound. It had nice range to the controls and everything, and it's smoother. It's one of the 808 is one of the smoother of the Tube Screamer circuits, and this kind of achieves that smoothness in a nice way where it's got a, it's just got a good 808 kind of sound to it. What's different about this pedal is when you flip over to modern mode, this is where it becomes modern. Essentially, it sounds much more open. It has more clarity. It has more of a richness. It doesn't have that same Tube Screamer drive, but it kind of has a Tube Screamer character. It would almost be like, in a weird way, if you can picture this, it would almost be like you have a clean tone in a DAW, for those of you who do recording. Like, you have a clean tone, and then you put a Tube Screamer into the bus, and you bus in the Tube Screamer, but not all the way. It's like there's a hint of it there, but it still retains that rich clarity. There's that little kind of bit of the EQ change and a little bit of compression, but in this really nice way. On the modern mode, one of the best edge of breakup tones that I've really heard. That's a hard tone to achieve, believe it or not, is that right kind of edge of breakup sound. And this one really gets that very well, which I like. Of course, it's very easy to use. It's very regularly built. This is one of those new one control enclosures that I like. It kind of has this more matte style with the textured top. Really flashy looking. Works great. I trust Bjorn's designs. I've liked all of them. This one is no different. I was actually really excited to get this one because I love Tube Screamers. I'm just an old Tube Screamer fan, and some players love them, some players love to hate them, some players just hate them, and I've always loved them. I've used Tube Screamers in a number of situations where, in that live setting, just the raw power of kicking on a Tube Screamer and kind of what it does to your tone is something that I really appreciate. I don't always like, sometimes when you have pedals that have vintage or modern mode, I frequently find myself going towards the vintage mode. That's a pretty broad generalization, I understand, but a lot of times modern mode tends to have edgier clipping or just way more headroom, or there's a lot of different things that modern mode could mean. And with this one, I was really anticipating I would just be keeping it on vintage mode the whole time, but I'm so really liking modern mode because, again, it kind of just gives you like Essence of Tube Screamer, I want to say, but in a very high fidelity. Another way to describe it would be like if, you know, classic Tube Screamer vintage mode is like listening on vinyl, modern mode would be like listening on CD, maybe. It's a little bit more different than that, but kind of there's more of a, you know, there's something cool and warm and quirky about the vinyl, but then there's something just where you can just kind of very clearly hear everything and more of a 3D picture to your sound if you're listening to a CD. That's kind of similar to what I'm getting from this pedal. So again, the best way is not to talk about it, but to show you. So you've just heard it playing with a Lust for Tone Holy Relic Lustcaster, which is one of the best Stratocasters I've ever played. Next, we're going to play with a Gibson SG. For this video, I'm going into my Franklyn Amps 5E3, going into a 210 cabinet, and I'm also using a one-control Prussian blue reverb to add a little bit of air to the tone. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? If you're a Tube Screamer player, you're somebody who doesn't like Tube Screamers, what did you think of that modern mode? Now, I do want to mention real quick, this is one of the sounds that I was doing. You can kind of get that Stevie Ray Vaughan sound a little bit if you turn the drive all the way back and the level all the way up, and it gives you that Tube Screamery kind of boost where, again, you're not really getting gain, but you're just getting a little bit of the character of the pedal and kind of a push in your amp. So that's in there certainly in the video, and it's in there in the pedal. I've always found with Bjorn's designs, he seems to get the fact that there should be a good useful range on pedal knobs. You know, drive should be useful all the way from 0 all the way up to whatever number you would call this, 12. Whereas a lot of pedals, really the usable range, particularly a lot of production, you know, consumer kind of level pedals, the usable range is going to be, you know, much narrower. If you get too high, they just sound too saturated. If you get too low, it's like, what's the point? You know, especially on the tone knobs and things, you know, tone is kind of like you get up past here and it's just going to be, why are you doing that? And you get back here and it's Muffle City. And I found with Bjorn's designs, he actually has a really good ear and kind of an understanding of what's a good usable range on these knobs so that there's a usable sound everywhere that you set it up. Now, that doesn't mean that you're gonna use it everywhere, but you know, depending on your rig, it really means you have much more of a wide variety of options to dial in your pedal. So we're gonna go back to the SG here again. Let us know in the comments if you're somebody who plays Tube Screamers, who likes Tube Screamers, or who doesn't like Tube Screamers. What do you think of this pedal? What do you think of either mode? Again, I think the vintage mode is a great 808 kind of inspired sound, but the modern mode is, I think, what really sets this pedal apart from other overdrives. Let us know what you think in the comments. I'm I'm Jack Fossett. Stick around for some more tones, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.